Good evening, everyone. This is Sethatina Newman Live, and I am your host, Sethatina. And today I decided that I think I wanted to talk about the oath of many offices throughout um, government agencies, the military, um, our officers, our enlisted, civilians who are trying to become naturalized, trying to become citizens, and what that oath means. And the reason I bring this up is because of the termination for our for the director of National Security Administration. Um, it has come out that perhaps he was relieved of his duty because he was not loyal and did not have the same views as our current presidential administration. I decided to take a look at oaths and looking at all the oaths for the military, for the officers, for, as I said, individuals becoming citizens of the United States. Not one of those oaths say that we are loyal to the President of the United States. Anybody who is voicing an oath, stating an oath to the military, to the government, to Congress, to the House of Representatives, to the Senate, to Vice President, the President himself, any of the cabinet members, none of them say we will be loyal to the President of the United States. We will be loyal to the Vice President. We will be loyal to a president, or to even just any person in particular. The only place I read president in any of the oaths was the military oath, stating that they would follow the orders of the President of the United States, as well as the officers who oversaw them. So that is the only oath that even mentions the president. And that has to do with following orders, not being loyal to the president. Now, the president says, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. In all of the other oaths, it's the same thing. We will defend the Constitution of the United States. I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take the obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So none of those, again, say, I will be loyal to a certain person. Now, again, the reason I brought up the oaths is because I realize most of you watching this has heard about the firing of General Timothy Haugh. It happened last week. Actually, it happened a week ago today, I believe. And but with the news, everything comes out a day or two later. So I did some research into General Haugh And from what I can tell in my limited resources, being the internet, I don't have relationships with people in high places that could get me an inside scoop. I have to depend on what I find on the internet. And from what I could find, I'm not quite sure why he was fired, other than the fact that he wasn't loyal enough, according to Laura Loomer, for the Trump administration. Many of you may also have heard of Laura Loomer and her being a political activist. You could actually call me a political activist at this point, because I am talking about politics a lot. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to go tell the president who to fire and who not to fire. Oh, which she makes recommendations. She doesn't say who to fire. She just recommends to the president. And she recommended that General Haugh was not loyal enough to the Trump administration and that he needed to be let go. And in a response to a question from news reporters, President Trump, while getting on his plane to go to Mar-a-Lago, said, "We're going to let go of people we don't like, or people that we don't think can do the job, or people who may have loyalties to someone else." Okay? I can understand, loyalties to someone else if that other country is, if that other someone is an enemy of the United States. Obviously, we don't want loyalties in high places if those loyalties are to another country that want to, dismantle the United States. And yeah, obviously, if the person is not able to do the job, we don't want them in there. Okay? But General Haugh, has been in that position for the last 2 years. And yes, it was under the Biden administration, but that really shouldn't matter. If he has maintained the safety and security of this country, and he has done it to the best of his ability, and we have not had any significant, implosions of our security and our secrets, then why is he being fired? And secondly, who's going to replace him? Because even the deputy director of NASA was moved to a different position. So who's in charge of it now? Who is ensuring that our secrets, our national security is being maintained? That was the director's job, was to make sure that there was nothing leaking out, that, the average person working for him was not selling secrets, was not collecting secrets, was not going to, give secrets to our enemies, which nowadays could be just about anybody. But who's taking care of that now? It's already been demonstrated that the Trump administration doesn't always look to see how information is being transferred from one person to another, how information is being protected. Okay. I just don't understand how somebody can be fired because they're not loyal when our founding fathers made sure that that was not part of the Constitution. No place in the Constitution does it say that we have to be loyal to the president, that we have to be loyal to even Congress, that we have to be loyal to the government. No, we can't try to overthrow the government. That's treason. But it doesn't mean that we have to be loyal. It means we can question. So the founding fathers took two of the three statutes from the English when we decided to write our own constitution for the United States. So it says that there's only one condition brought over from England's statute of treason enacted in 1350 that was not put into our Constitution. And that they omitted the phrase defining as treason the compassing or imagining of our Lord and King dead, the death of our Lord and King. So obviously we don't have a king. We have a president. But even taking that out, do I want Trump dead? No. Okay. That would be completely wrong. I don't want anybody dead for any reason. But they took that out. They didn't replace it with be loyal. They didn't replace it with agreeing with the president always. They didn't replace it with anything of that. They didn't replace it with being loyal to Congress, being loyal to the judges, being loyal. None of that is in the Constitution. So again, why does it not state that although it does not state that we do not have to be loyal to the person in charge, it does not say that we have to be loyal to that person either. So just because you don't agree, just because you aren't loyal, doesn't necessarily give the right to be fired either, if you're doing your job. If you're doing your job and you're doing it well, why is somebody going to be fired just because you aren't loyal to the administration, loyal to the objectives of the administration? Yes, President Trump wants to bring our economics back, and that's fantastic. I agree with that. I want our economy to improve. I want businesses to come back. Like he stated 2 days ago in a press conference that, companies are coming back because he's putting high tariffs on imports. So companies can't get other countries to build their stuff. If they don't want to have a tariff put on the parts that they import from other countries, then those companies need to be making it here in the United States. Whether what he stated was actually true or not, I don't know. Again, I don't know anybody in high places to affirm that. I can't always guarantee that what I hear on the news is true because of people's agendas. But what I do know is that General Haugh was in the service of giving to this country for 33 years. 33 years of his life to this country. He was commander of the 16th Air Force in San Antonio. He was commander of the 321st Command. He was placed as the director of NSA. He must have done something right at some point to be the director of the NSA. And in charge of the communication command, cyber command. He must have done something right someplace. because whether he was brought in by a Democrat or a Republican, it doesn't matter. The point is, he was placed in that position because he knew what he was doing, or somebody believed that he knew what he was doing. Again, nobody has stated why he was fired. Nobody has stated who's going to be replacing the director. And I'm really concerned about our security, especially after the fiasco of using Signet for communicating and getting information out that should not have been relayed to the public. So why are we hearing of so many firings of high-ranking officials just because they may think differently than President Trump? You know, I'm sure Biden also fired people. I'm sure President Obama also fired people. I'm sure Reagan fired people. But we had news then too. So why are we hearing of so many firings of high officials in government positions? Why can't he handle people thinking differently than he does? Why does everyone and who surrounds him? That's not beneficial to the American people. It's either you do it my way or there's the highway. Does that really work? How many of you out there listening, thinking, oh, here she goes, talk again. But think about it. How many of have employers who only want people to follow their agenda? How many of you are employers who don't want anything to do with anybody thinking differently? Who have different ideas, but you don't want to listen to them? Does that make for a good company? Does that make for a good family? I've talked about the United States not being a company. In a family, when you're talking about vacations or trips, don't you find out where people want to go? Don't you want to find out what people want to do? How people think about what you should do, where you should go, how you should get there? So why is it okay for the president of the United States, regardless of who it is, whether it's Biden, Obama, Trump, doesn't matter, me, it doesn't matter. Why is it okay for that one person to only surround themselves with people who only think like they do and not want to hear what other people have to think or say? In my opinion, now again, just my opinion, that really doesn't make for a successful playbook. Now, no, I haven't read 2025, so I'm not even going into that playbook. I'm talking playbook in general. You know, if teammates don't listen, I mean, if the leader of a sporting group don't listen to their other players, you know, they're going to lose the game. If parents don't listen to their children about things that are going on in their lives, they're going to lose their children. If children don't listen to their parents, bad things can happen. The point is, everybody needs to listen to everybody else. Just because you are the person in charge of the country, you're really not. You're only one member of the government that oversees the well-being of this country and its citizens. So yeah, having people around you in your cabinet that support you, that only agree with you, that may seem the best idea possible. But it's not how it truly is, because then you have Congress and the judicial system that may or may not agree with you. And just like kids on a playground, if you don't agree with me, I'm not going to be your friend. Well, that's fine. But you're going to have a lot more friends if you compromise and work together. I don't see that happening in our government. I see, again, Democrats versus Republicans. I see presidential administration saying, oh, no, you don't agree with me, you're out of here. I mean, his comment, we're going to get rid of people we don't like. Really? We're going to get rid of you because I don't like you. It doesn't matter if you can do the job. I don't like you. So you're gone. That's a bit on the crazy side, if you ask me. I'm not saying he's crazy, but a bit on the crazy side. So I would like to know why General Haugh was fired. Getting back to General Haugh. Kind of went off on a tangent, but I would like to know why he was fired. Was he, did he not do his job? Was he delinquent in his responsibilities as the director of NSA and Cyber Command? Was he leaking information? Was he allowing information to be leaked? Why was he fired? I said he appears to have a clean record to me. Was it because of Laura Loomer, and her recommendation? Because she said that he was not loyal to President Trump. His job wasn't to be loyal to President Trump. His job was to keep security for our nation. And to all of you out there, if I missed something, please let me know. Please let me know where to find the information that I missed, because I want to be knowledgeable. I want to know what's going on. I want to give the honest truth and not just my opinion. I try to do research prior to coming on so that I can provide facts, but I don't want it to be a factual fiction. I don't want it to be a historic fiction. I want it to be truthful. Yes, a lot of it is my opinion, but I try to make my opinion based off of fact. So if I've missed something, please, I ask you, tell me where to find the correct information. I want to know legitimate and proven information, not just hearsay. Again, a lot of the news, you can't always know if it's honest, because is somebody on the right against somebody on the left? Is somebody on the left who's against the right? I can't even keep track of who's right and left anymore. It just doesn't make sense to me. Who's an extreme right? Who's an extreme left? It doesn't matter anymore, at least not to me. If the truth is the truth, then I want to know it. If it is simply falsifying information, I want to know that too, so that I don't look into that information. I want to know the truth. And I don't want to hear Gene Hackman say, you can't handle the truth. I want to know the truth. I want to know the truth. I don't want to have opinions based on lies. My opinions, I want to be based on truth. So let me know. I can be found on TikTok. I can be found on X. I can be found on Instagram. I can be found on YouTube. So if you're watching this, you already know where to find me. Message me, contact me, put it in the comments. I do my best to respond to questions, to comments, but I do want to know the truth. So let me know. Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a great week. And remember, we are citizens. As citizens, we have an oath to uphold the Constitution and be loyal to the United States, not the president, regardless of who the president is. Even if I were president, I would not expect loyalty to me, but to the United States and to the Constitution. So thank you. Have a great week and talk to you soon.